Welcome back to That Gameplays Live, everybody. I see everyone's booming in the chat right now because, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a great news day. We have some crazy headlines today. Everything from Pac-Man cafes to Donkey Kong alleged games hitting the third-party market to even the FBI getting involved. It's a crazy week, but you know what? I can't do this alone because honestly I'm kind of scared to hit all that by myself. But you know what? In my darkest hour, there is a beard of wisdom just waiting for me. His name is Culturecasino. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Culture.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Hey, especially you. I'm overblown by the tens of millions of applause out there. So anyway, I have to tell you, I'm very excited. We have a lot of stories. I've got to tell you, Nolan went out of his way to make sure we focused in on one particular brand, and for a good reason, because it seems where all the news was coming from in the last few days is because and from Nintendo. So good evening, everybody.
It wasn't the ColecoVision, everybody. It was Nintendo.
Speaking of which, we got Sean out there, the artist formerly known as John Cusack. We've got of course ourselves here, and Jay's here. What's up, Jay? I cleaned up. We had two streams going accidentally, so we were going to be on that Park Place at the same time. I had to fix that.
Simulcast, baby.
Yeah, it's been really weird, but we got Low Spec Linux Gaming out there. Wolfie is here, fourth, as a matter of fact. Crunch Punts is here. Good to see you. Yes, very specific location of games. That's right. Yeah, that game place. This is the place for games. And we got a few other folks sneaking in. Let's see here. Oh, come on. I saw the lovely lady herself. Where is she? Juliet is out there. There she is for $5.
With a super chat.
Yeah, £5 sterling, Nolan. This is extra special. This is proper money. Pound sterling. Saying, good morning, That Gameplays. Nolan Thunder, Culture Casino, panelists, and chat. Hey, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here, Juliet. We appreciate seeing you early there in the UK. And a few other folks rolling to the door like Davina Duckworth, our friend Chris Dickerson, and more. So thanks for that. Nolan, sure show. Let's go.
All right, let's do this thing, homie. It's going to be a fun one, everybody. All right, so we're going to start off with something that probably wasn't fun for the people behind it. Culture, if you could please bring up our first story here. In today's news, the FBI is getting in on this shindig. Alright, so the headline says, the FBI seizes major Nintendo Switch piracy website. This is coming from the folks over at IGN and by Tom Phillips. So thank you, Tom, for providing us with this article. The story goes, a major website hosting pirated copies of Nintendo Switch games has been shut down by the FBI. Now, instead of illegally copied games, the notorious NSWTU.com hosts a single image offering a warning message from the FBI, acknowledging the domain has been seized. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. It's kind of scary looking. The move is the latest in a string of anti-piracy efforts surrounding Nintendo games this year, and follows Nintendo itself taking action to permanently brick new Switch 2 consoles that use a piracy-enabling flash card device. We'll get into that later. That's our headline. But first, let's bring this back to this pirating site right here. Culture, do you think this is shocking, or do you think this is about in line what we expect out of Nintendo and the FBI?
I think it's what we expect out of Nintendo, especially. The FBI is superfluous here. But I think that this is something that we are going to see quite a bit of, to be fair, going forward, Nolan. I think we're going to start to see major issues that Nintendo is having with their games being pirated, being knocked out of the way. And they've been very much more serious about this recently, not just with their enforcement efforts with the law enforcement, but also in their legal side of the equation when it comes to lawsuits. So do I expect this to happen more frequently and with more excitement? Yeah, I do. I absolutely do.
When I see this, I'm actually bringing up the actual image you'll see off the site here too, so we can get a proper view on that. I keep thinking about that scene in like the first Transformers movie, you know, where the FBI starts raiding their home, smashing through the glass and stuff, except it's like Nintendo ninjas or something like that. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I hope, I know they have a long history of this kind of stuff, but I hope that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, everything's sorted out, because like, well, I'm all for, you know, the mod and the ROM hats thing, personal opinion here. You know, piracy, you know, like, they need to put out these games to make money. That's their bread and butter. And I just hope, you know, whatever goes on, you know, it's not like too overly harsh of a punishment, because like I don't like seeing people go to jail over Nintendo stuff. I really don't.
Well, yeah. I mean, Nintendo was usually one of those safe ones where it wasn't worth pirating because it took a lot of extra steps, and most people didn't either have the technical savvy or the or the interest in kind of slogging through all of those various steps. And it became easier and easier. People were able to kind of boil it down to one set of, you know, code transactions, and they were able to do this. I just, like I said, I think they're going to continue to make it more and more difficult, which is going to create issues for their users. I think we have got a story that will be coming up here soon to talk about what happens if they even think you do something wrong. Yeah,
exactly. And one thing before we jump out, let me show the culture, if you'd like to bring this up here. I got another story.
You bet, I got it. There it is, yeah.
Matt Tate. Yeah, this reminds me also of culture. Did you ever, I know you're a lot more tech savvy than me, did you ever get like those fake computer viruses back in the day, you know, where it's saying that
where it says, the FBI is going to hit you? Yeah. I always thought that was pretty funny. And then it was always pretty obvious what it was, because 9 times out of 10 there was some horrible misspelling and terrible grammar included in that. And so I oftentimes would take a screenshot of it to share with people later. You know, oh, here comes the FIB. Oh no.
No, that's the scariest of the 3-letter options right there.
Maybe
but,
so.
I'll tell you though, if I end out my day and I see like a Nintendo SWAT team van going by with like Wario and Waluigi in it, I'm done. I'm done with it. I will never even touch a ROM hack ever again. But you know what? I do think is worth. Well, I might not be touching that. I think what we should touch is these wonderful super chats. The people in the chat, if I can speak properly tonight. Culture, can you bring up the good folks in our audience?
You betcha. We got a lot of folks that walked in the door while we were just getting started. We've got JPS joining us. Good to see you, JPS. Still love that logo. One of the best logos in gaming. We also have a few other folks that rolled through the door. I just want to say hi to Pam Epson. Good to see you, and thank you for saying hi to us. Nolan, of course, is the talent here, and you got to go where the talent is, so I'm going to follow Nolan around when it comes to games. We got our friend Morgan.
I just follow what the beard of wisdom tells me to do, folks.
Well, I feel like the consultant of wisdom at most. But anyway, we got Morgan King out there who's doing a great job on everything that they try. I really appreciate Morgan's support everywhere. Thanks for being here, my friend. I owe you like a Warframe game or something. I don't remember what it is, but we gotta try to make that happen. McSpoon is here with the great and powerful frog. And we got Carl Singh out there. Great to see you, Carl. And our good buddy, Butterbiscuit92. Hello, Butterbiscuit. Good to see you. And let's see. Yep. Crunts Punts is still out there. I lived in Southeast London. Wow. Until I was 16. Glad I got the heck out of there. Well, there's that. And yeah, we just want to say hi to everybody who just joined us. And Juliet, you are amazing. Let's get moving forward, my friend. We got another story.
We don't just have a story. We got a headline story coming up here, folks. So get ready to dive into this. All right. Boom. Perhaps one of the biggest news of the week. Nintendo bans Switch 2 owner after they played used Switch 1 games. Decision eventually reversed after proving innocence. Now, this is kind of a multi-part story here. We have a few articles that begin just kind of the core craziness that's been going on with the folks over at Nintendo. But to start things out, we have a good article coming here from the folks at Tom's Hardware and by Joey Morales. So, when you purchase through... Okay... A Nintendo Switch 2 user reportedly got his brand new console banned by Nintendo after buying used Switch 1 games and patching them on his console. According to Reddit user Bananza, they purchased 4 used titles off the Facebook Marketplace, inserted them into the Switch 2, and had them all updated. When they turned on the hardware, handhelds, the following day, they received a message saying that they were restricted from Nintendo's online services and that they couldn't even download the games they had already bought. Fortunately for Bananza, Nintendo had a quick resolution for them. Once they discovered the issue, they went to the Nintendo support website and were immediately able to talk to a human. It was there that the company confirmed that their console was indeed banned because of the use of pirated games. Nevertheless, they were able to prove their innocence by pulling up the Facebook Marketplace listings for their games and sending the photos of their purchased cartridge. According to the Redditor, the process was painless and fast, and it was so much easier than getting support from Microsoft or Sony. By showing these things, you can prove to Nintendo that you purchased the games in good faith, and that you were duped. I dare say they were bamboozled. Other users warned, though, that this isn't always a guaranteed resolution. Alright, Culture, I got a lot of personal opinions on this matter, but geez, this is wild. You buy a game off Facebook Marketplace, and then all of a sudden, Nintendo detects through an update they even suspect there could be some pirated games there, and all of a sudden they want to put the whole kibosh in brick your system. What do you think of this craziness?
I think that's a little strange. I think that they should not have that much insight into what you're actually doing on the console that you purchased, let alone with the game that you purchased. I think that at a certain point, we're going to have to get some legislation to make them calm down a little bit, because I think this is an overreach. I don't know about you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, this honestly really worries me, because the reality is, when you get so much intervention, from a big conglomerate, whatever, whether it's a video game company or a food distributor, whatever, when you start going further and further from the conventional, mom and pop establishments, so to speak, this is a digital sense, so it's a little bit different. It's harder to monitor what and all is going on when it comes to gray area, like what is someone following the rules, or did you just completely misinterpret it because, the vast scale? And when you have a major company like Nintendo, it gets very easy to do. But this wasn't an issue in the past because, while, I said beforehand, the FBI shut down a piracy site, I think, that is very morally good, because I think, they made those games, they have a right to take down. But if they're just assuming, even a sniff, that they think that there's piracy going on, to just be able to shut down the system and it just doesn't even function, I don't think that's right. We save those kind of things, for authority establishments in our, country, and I'm sure that's the case for, other countries too. And to just see it just automatically get the destroy the system button, so to speak, I think that's an exaggeration, and I think there needs to be more stuff in play to, protect the users, who might just be, just trying to play a Mario game. I don't think it needs to be this level of overcorrection. Culture, your thoughts? Am I wrong here?
Oh, no, of course you're not wrong. I think many in the audience would agree that, that's just a tremendously invasive amount of overreach that the consumer should be protected against. We are in an anti-consumer world where they want you to not own your games. You can buy your games, you can even buy the console, but you apparently don't own either of those things. That's a real problem. And in order to address that, I think we're going to have to get with some legislators and hammer out a new version of what these entities are allowed to do. I mean, let's be straightforward with it and say we need a limited EULA, end user license agreement, along with terms of service. I think TOS needs to be limited to 20-point print on a 3x5 index card, front and back. That's all you get, because being able to just print ad nauseum whatever it is you want to basically assert rights that you should not have. I think that's a real issue. And I believe everybody here will probably agree that we need to start fighting for those rights now before there's no gaming industry left.
I completely agree. You know, we gotta stop it before it gets too late because, you know, like, I think this is a time where is a very key time, you know, to know what, especially in the streaming age we now live in, you know, and live service games, is a time we have to know what is right and what is wrong from the terms of, like, you know, from a mass amount of people to figure out, like, hey, what's going to make it to where we can find a happy ground here to where everyone's going to be happy. And, you know, Culture, I don't think we're alone in our thoughts on, hey, there needs to be some pushback going here. In fact, I think Brazil, so at least some folks over there, might be on our side. Culture, could you please bring up the follow-up story to this?
Absolutely. Here we go.
All right. This one comes from WCCFtech.com. This is written by David Carcassole. Good name, sir. Good name. All right. The headline states, Nintendo's ability to brick Nintendo Switch 2 consoles is being challenged in Brazil. With the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo was clearly determined to improve some of the core failings of the original Nintendo Switch, including how easy it was for players to get pirated software onto the console. I don't know about you, Culture, but I remember when the Switch first came out back in 2017, someone had already managed to, like, jailbreak it within a few days. Like, it was insane. Like,
well, yeah, and they created the opportunity to sideload entire libraries, and that, yeah, I mean, it didn't take long. It usually doesn't. Think about how quickly an iPhone is jailbroken now. Pretty well.
Yeah. So, continuing on, in the beginning, all it took was a paperclip to dismantle the Nintendo Switch. While Nintendo could do nothing but watch, and eventually release an updated model of the original Switch to stop the paperclip trip from working, I don't know, with enough dedication, they might still be able to find a way. Nintendo has upped its game, so to speak, in its fight against piracy on the Nintendo Switch 2, with the threat of Nintendo bricking the device remotely hanging over the head of anyone willing to try and use their Switch 2 in an unauthorized way. Players have described this kind of power to brick the whole device and not just ban the account of someone attempting to jailbreak their console as an overreach from Nintendo. But individual players can't exactly do much to get in Nintendo's way. Procon SP, however, is trying to get in Nintendo's way on behalf of Brazilian Nintendo Switch 2 owners. The Sao Paulo branch of Brazil's Consumer Protection and Defense Organization has published a press release spotted by My Nintendo News, props to them, in which it calls the clauses around bricking the device in the contract that every Nintendo Switch 2 owner and Nintendo Switch Online account holder agrees to abusive. To be clear, Procon SP's issue with Nintendo are more around how the company can remotely and permanently cut off services that Brazilian consumers have paid for without a proper explanation. Procon SP is asking that Nintendo change the wording in its EULA per its request, with Nintendo now saying it will review Procon's complaint and respond within the next 20 days. Nintendo's current EULA reads, you acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the console and/or the software permanently unusable in whole or in part. Culture, I think you were actually just talking about the terms of service here and stuff, and do you think Brazil has a chance here? Oh, you're muted, my good sir.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do believe so. I think that their Supreme Court has been very interesting when it comes to issues like this. And if they think it's not, being Brazilian enough, they can definitely tell Nintendo to pound sand on this. The question is, what happens then? Is Nintendo forced to comply? Will they render all of the Brazilian consoles inert and turn them all into, fancy Lego bricks? It's a good question. But do they have a chance? Sure. And I think that's probably pretty good. When you take a look at the fact that this is going to be a precedent-setting thing globally, you might see a lot of other countries follow suit. And I'm telling you what, the EU would probably be next in line to follow up on this, because this is an easy win for them at a time when everybody hates the EU as a trade partner, amongst other things.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the EU culture, we know, as we've been seeing, we reported on last week, Stop Killing Games has been getting a lot of traction, about people wanting more ownership and protocols on what these companies can do to, take away product that they've paid for. And personal opinion here, I can only hope that Brazil causes a domino effect. I want to be seeing some more headlines for this in America, the UK, Japan, wherever have it, because I think we're in a time where consumers deserve, ownership of their products, because I don't know about you, Culture, but my Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt combo that came from the 1980s, it still works. It's still morally ethical, and I would love to continue to show that to other generations, without people deeming that it could be, been resold about 4 different times and maybe went to someone who was shady and I had no way of knowing. Any disagreement there?
No, I'm 100% with you. I think that we should be in full control of the things that we purchase. And we've been fighting this now, I feel like, for the last 4 or 5 years, where, you will not own anything and you'll like it, except that that's not the case. We kind of hate it a lot, just not even a little bit. So I have a feeling that you're going to see more and more pushback on this. The EU is going to be kind of stuck when it comes to that side of that, because they want you to not own anything. They want to have full control over you through your social credit score, amongst other stuff. And this is a problem. I mean, we're venturing into a world where, the consumers are going to get frustrated enough that they'll remove power from these governmental entities if they don't actually help the consumers. And I would say that the EU is kind of stuck. But hey, look, I'm on the side of the consumers. I have to be. I am one. And when it comes to games, I own my games. Do you know how I know? I bought them with my own money. It's a purchase. I acquired them at a point of sale, not a point of rental. So I'm going to say this is also going to probably hit the folks that are the live service or games as a service crowd, because they're going to have to provide that game in some form or fashion when they no longer can keep, quote unquote, the servers open, because there's not, quote unquote, enough people. I have a feeling that this is going to start to hit, and I have a feeling that they're going to have to come up with some real answers.
This right here is a copy of Mario 64. This is a game I purchased. I paid some good money for. And at the end of the day, it's one of those where, you know what, if we need to take, it seriously, it would have been morally wrong for me to go to the counter, steal the game. I don't agree with that, and I think that would have been wrong and not fair to Nintendo. But now I purchased it. I'm a proud owner, and I like being able to, do with the game with what I please and bring it amongst others. And I really hope, that this can be something that can benefit, both the companies, but especially the consumer. So only the future will tell, where we're going with this. But hopefully, for the sake of the gamer and the most loyal fans, hopefully we're going in a good direction. Speaking of going in a good direction, Culture, I think we're in a pretty good direction if we start reading some beautiful words from the chat. How do you feel about that?
I feel like Chris Dickerson dropped some beautiful words for $10. That's right. $10 of beautiful words.
Thank you, Chris.
What happened to Reggie
Fils-Aimé?
Fils-Aimé. Nintendo felt more friendly to their customers when he was there. Well, I'm not sure if it's exactly this, but I think that they are trying to lock everything down in the least consumer-friendly way, and I don't think that Fils-Aimé would actually have done that. But maybe I'm wrong.
No, you never really know for sure in the coulda, shoulda, woulda situations. But I would be Reggie. I remember over the years definitely got plenty of pushback, from Nintendo fans. I remember the Batman Arkham Origins debacle, 3DS being region locked, all that jazz. But what I do remember about Reggie was he was very, very good at understanding the consumer. He went to bat, as someone who's actually listened to his whole audiobook and has respect for the man for a long time. he talks about how he went to bat, wanting to include Wii Sports in the original Nintendo Wii release as a pack-in title, whereas a lot of people in Japan were like, hey, we worked hard on that game. We don't want to pack that in, but he's like, hey, this is a great showcase, and it's going to be speaking volumes for the consumer. I think some of that mentality, could be a great thing to implement again, because Nintendo seems like they're very good about a sense of pride in their brand. In Japan, I've heard about how they're trying to basically set up the next generation from people within to keep that core spirit of Nintendo alive, compared to America, where a lot of CEOs run companies for companies they don't even really seem to care about. Take Bob Iger for the Walt Disney Company, taking pride in not wearing a Mickey Mouse tie or something like that. I think Doug Bowser could take, not to say any ill will to him, could take some lessons from perhaps there's more things Nintendo needs to do right now to get the good side of the consumer, because the profits were clearly there with the last Switch. Let's see what they can do to follow that up. Any disagreement there, Culture?
No, as a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, you got Wii Sports, but I don't think you got the scale. Didn't you have to buy the scale thing separately, the board?
Oh no, that was Wii Fit. Wii Fit had the scale, and Wii Sports had Wii Fit was the yoga one, and then Wii Sports, you got the bat, the boxing.
Yeah, no. The reason I say that is because you could really create a customized workout program and fitness training with the combination of Wii Sports, Wii Fit, and what was the other one? I forget what it was, but there was an online community that was dedicated to using all of those things to get a full exercise experience at home, like a gym. It was it's pretty cool. Yeah, especially with the boxing, the footwork in boxing, and of course the movements and all of that. That created a lot of mobility that older people don't often get, and as they could scale that up, they could get more and more range of motion and a lot of other things. So it really did work for an older generation for a long time, who were just becoming more familiar with these types of technologies. So I thought it was really cool.
I remember a key thing about, I think, the twilight years of the original Nintendo Wii. I think some of the big things were the Nintendo Wii was actually making its way into retirement homes and stuff, which wouldn't normally house a gaming console. And I think that's pretty awesome, because, finding a fun way to get some workout at a time your body probably needs it most. I think that's pretty awesome.
It was an amazing point in time, and it really did, kind of change people's mobility and their access to, an entertaining exercise regimen. And then again, once you get to when you combined all of those things, there was 3 programs. I wish I could dig that out, but literally there was a 20-page booklet that explained how to kind of get a full gym workout through using the 3 different games: Wii Sports, Wii Fit, and the other one is escaping me, and I don't know why.
Wii Play?
But maybe there was something. There was a running thing. There was some other stuff. I don't even remember. But like I said, I mean, I bought one of those with the boards, right, with Wii Fit, so that I could just keep track of my my body mass index and my weight and everything else. And it was great because you also could keep track of your pet's weight, which I thought was super fun. So,
well, Chris, I want to say thank you so much for the $10 super chat. We always like to spend time in this show to take some attention, to our chat, but especially when we get a super chat, it's a great opportunity to ask us questions. Want to make sure the panel gets involved, and it takes some time, to get across. So I want to say, hey, thank you, Chris, for submitting your question.
I want to say quick hi to the lovely Sherry. Ninja Pat is here. Mind Control is in the house. We got
Don't
Chase.
Tell the FBI.
We got Chase Porter out there. Lots of people joining in as we keep going through the new format for the show. John the Beagle Dad's out there. Say hi to John. And this is we're just cruising right along. Speaking of which, I think we've got another story, right, Nolan?
Yes, we do. And unfortunately, it's not the happiest one, but I had a big feeling that we needed to cover this due to this dude's impact on everything. In unfortunately more sad news, this comes from The Wrap, written by Alex Welch. James Carter Cathcart, Pokemon voice actor, dies at 71. James Carter Cathcart, a performer best known for his voice work in the Pokemon franchise, died Tuesday at the age of 71. His death was confirmed in a Facebook post on Thursday by his wife, Martha Jacoby, who wrote that he passed peacefully at Calvary Hospital in the Bronx. Cathcart retired from voice acting in 2023 following a throat cancer diagnosis. According to the New York Times, the actor's ex-wife, Gian Gari, confirmed in an interview that Cathcart's cause of death was said cancer. Born in 1954 in West Long Branch, New Jersey, Cathcart, aka Jimmy Zoppi, is survived by his wife Martha, as well as his daughters Nicole and Mackenzie and his son Carter. But this is where we bring it back to the gaming focus a bit here. A lifelong voice actor, Cathcart joined the Pokemon cast in 1998 and spent the following 25 years voicing some of the franchise's most beloved characters, including Professor Oak, Gary, James, and Meowth, one of the few Pokemon capable of speech. Culture, I don't know how much into Pokemon you were back in the late 90s and stuff. Did you ever see any performances when Pokemon ruled the world during Pokemania, so to speak?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. I had other interests at that time, primarily, just completely different interests. But I understand his significance, especially to that and Pokemon being everywhere at that time. So it is sad news. I will say 71's a pretty decent lifetime. I'm sure everybody wants more years, but I'm just sure that he felt that he delivered a lot of joy to a lot of people for a long period of time. So a life well lived, let's say.
Oh, I agree completely. I remember, fun fact about it, I remember years ago, I used to like those, you remember those old like YouTube subliminal message videos or whatever that used to be all over the site? There was a clip from the Pokemon anime, and it was a scene where his character James was being like swallowed whole by like a Victory Bell Pokemon. It's like a plant monster. And it was just some gibberish, but someone played it backwards. And it was clear as day a recording of him saying, Leo Burnett and 4Kids are the devil. And I think Leo Burnett was one of the 4Kids staff at the time. So he was one who seemed like he was willing to sneak in his opinions in there a little bit. And I have to respect, I know a lot of people had to push back on 4Kids anime back in the day. And oh man, it's interesting to see, though, the fun he presented to a lot of people, because as the article goes on to say, over the years, Cathcart also voiced characters in Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Mission Odyssey, an animated series. He additionally portrayed Vector the Crocodile in the Shadow the Hedgehog and Mario and Sonic Olympic Winter Games, video games, and the Sonic X TV show. This is where it really got me, because, oh my gosh, when I think of Vector the Crocodile in Sonic, he is the voice I think. He had such an over-the-top, like, zany voice. I know the phrase from Shadow the Hedgehog, find the computer room, was a very legendary meme, and this is thanks to this guy. And there are so many things that have to fire on all cylinders when it comes to a game's creation. The direction, the gameplay, the music, and honestly, we had a lot of games that had very poor, cheesy voice acting over time, but even if it's cheesy, it's memorable and adds to the legacy. I'll take cheesy any day over like some phoning it in, and I don't think this guy ever did it. And he clearly did a lot what he did with a lot of passion and love. In fact, thanks to all of Jimmy's fans of the years, giving you joy was why he worked so hard on his craft. Cathcart's wife wrote on Facebook following his death, please know how much he appreciated you. Well, I think it's easy to say that a lot of gamers alike really appreciate his service that they did for everything. Culture, any closing thoughts before we wrap this?
No, it's just it's always sad when we lose somebody, especially in the gaming space as far as voice acting. So, rest in peace, my friend, and Godspeed.
Well said. Well said. All right, Culture, can you bring up the beautiful chat again, see what they have to say on all the wonderfulness of gaming culture?
Oh, you bet. In fact, some people had some messages there. Ninja Pat was like, darn. We've got Lovely Share saying, R.I.P. indeed. We've got a few other folks recognizing this. And technically, Pokemon is still everywhere. Truly. Some of the cards are worth extraordinary amounts of money. So there you go. And as our friend Krunts Punts says, he kicked butt for a long time. Well-deserved rest, indeed. Side note, love the stream background. Well, thank you. That's a That Game Place original, and we're gonna try to swap out some of the games in the background too. So stick around for that.
We're gonna put all the bad games. We're gonna put like Superman 64 in the background
and ET. We're gonna put ET on there. Okay,
yes!
Cool. You know what? What was this silly game? Centipede. Remember Centipede?
Yes.
Okay, I loved the game, but it was the most annoying because the trackball was like the least effective tool at the time to like try to clear every level. At least in my opinion, I could be wrong. But
it was iconic though. But I tell you, some of those, even the analog sticks on some of those arcade games, were it kind of deserved to be in a waste disposal area.
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
Belongs in a museum. Speaking of which, belonging in a museum, we got another story. There seems endless today, folks. Endless stories. Let's see what we got here.
All right, we got a crazy one here, folks. This is coming by Twisted Voxel. That is a name, guys. Good job on that site. This coming from the wonderful Muhammad Ali Bari, who says, Donkey Kong Bananza copies have leaked early, now being sold at inflating prices on eBay. Everyone, don't tell Nintendo. Oh boy, I
think they know.
Culture, it wasn't you that sold them. What was it? You?
No. I think they know, and I think they probably know who bought them, and I think they probably know. They're probably thinking about bricking their consoles right now for getting the game early. Big cheaters.
They already get in trouble with the authorities, and then they found their consoles are bricked on top of it. That's just the cherry on top. Anyways, and I can confirm, I went to eBay, and last I checked, it's still there. Physical copies of Nintendo's upcoming 3D platformer, Donkey Kong Bananza, have leaked early, and the game is currently being sold at inflated prices on eBay. An individual is selling physical copies of Donkey Kong Bananza on eBay, indicating that the game has apparently broken street date and leaked early. These early copies are selling for $112.99, each with 5 already sold. For those who can't wait, 10 copies are still in stock as of writing. Here's some pictures provided off of eBay. They get every article here, and I gotta say the Switch box art looks absolutely beautiful. I love the Switch 2 with the big red. It's very Nintendo themed, very eye-catching, but I think Nintendo's eyes might be on this one a bit. Culture, eBay is quite a platform. What do you think we have in store here? Do you think you'll be making a purchase of this?
When it comes out. Look, I'm not even going to begin to take a risk, and certainly I have not yet purchased the Switch 2 for reasons I stated up front, way back when we were talking about this thing coming out and how much it would be. When the price ventures down into something reasonable, or they may release more titles that I think have to own, that'll be the point at which I buy one. But even if, let's say, I had to have a Donkey Kong Bananza right now, I certainly wouldn't path through eBay or anywhere else knowing exactly what's happening with Nintendo games and the consoles. I wouldn't take a risk at getting bricked. I just wouldn't. That's not smart. I don't think.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I completely agree. And I think our friend NinjaPat15 had a very good point here where he's asking, like, is it real? There is a possibility, you could open up the case, take those fake cases, you open it up, and it's Mary Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 licensed drive or something, But
what?
It seems like more trouble than it's worth for probably just a $20-$30 upcharge. So, like I said, I checked it out. It was still up. I think these are real. But, I think would be hilarious is if the people go and purchase this game, but then ironically, with the US shipping or whatever, it takes like even longer than the game's released to show up to the consumer. And they did all that trouble, all that legal work, and then bam, they don't even get the game on time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what are you gaining? 5 days? Like, why take the risk? It's 5 days. This game releases on July 17th. It's today.
Yeah, they're already... Kiosks, demos are available for it. Like, this isn't it's not like the dude got the super secret Super Smash Bros. 6 title. I mean, is this worth the effort, dude?
Yeah, and I mean, there's always there. Of course, there's review copies out there for various outlets and stuff like Nintendo Life and IGN. I mean, they've already got their copy of the game. They've already played it. They're ready to release their reviews if they haven't already. A lot of the outlets released their reviews a couple days ago. So it doesn't seem like worth the risk to me, especially since we're really starting to see how Nintendo is just being very anti-consumer right now. Why do that? Oh, by the way, apparently you have a 30-day return window for this game when it comes out. That's if you don't open it, of course.
Yeah, it's. I think I'm gonna give some good old Nolan Thunder advice here. I'd recommend opting not to do that because everything going on with Nintendo right now, I swear, if I see people in a back alley with a trench coat trying to get me some Switch games, I'm just gonna walk on by. But I guess it means you lived a little in life. I don't know. Culture, any closing thoughts before we move on?
Just like any other illegal alien, just wait. Eventually they can get to you legally.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I think it's a good opportunity to get on the chat, see what they think. Maybe they're interested in the shady alleyway Donkey Kong. What do you think, Culture?
Well, I think low spec Linux gaming's on my tail because I wasn't super thrilled with the Centipede trackball from the old days. So that's fair. And yes, I know your game controller and mouse has one of these things. I've always been fascinated with your game controller. I think that's pretty cool. Nintendo's not happy. Well, won't be happy. No, McSpoon. I think they're very, very unhappy. And I'm not interested in Switch, but Nintendo is way too litigious to risk anything like this. Yes, Crunch Punts, I will say 100% accurate. A lot of people, Chris is not exactly stoked about the Switch 2. A lot of people not super happy about empty boxes. Well, yeah, I like cartridges myself. And apparently Chase Porter was excited about Mary-Kate and Ashley's Sweet 16 license to drive. First and foremost, I can't believe that's a real thing. And I can't believe that I can't believe that Nolan was able to just roll it off the top of his head. I'm like, what?
You don't. That stuff never goes away, Culture. I own a copy. I had to buy the game for the meme status alone. There were a lot of hoops that had to be jumped through in order to bring this game into reality. So next time you ever feel like you can't do it in life, just know someone greenlit Mary-Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 license to drive. Never say never, my friend. Never say never.
I mean, that's a game with 3 titles at that point. It's like a lot. It's a lot of titles.
What if they do a remake? Then it becomes like HD Turbo Edition.
No, thank you. Butterbiscuit92 said, just don't even think it's worth having a Switch 2 because you don't own anything. The console's just waiting to be bricked and you don't really own the games. So, yeah, I mean, that is anti-consumer in every possible way. So, big problem there. Batman, good to see you, my friend, says buying bootleg games from the trunk of a car. Yeah, don't do that. Probably not real games. You might end up with...
I know what you can do with your spare time instead, and I think we got a story about that. Culture. Do you catch what I'm throwing here?
I do. Let's take a look.
Woo. All right.
Oh!
For the folks. Yes! For the folks who don't know, we got some San Diego Comic-Con news, and this is pretty dope, honestly. All right, this comes from Fox 5 San Diego by Ria Kaole. Thank you very much, Ria. And the headline goes on to say, Pop-up Pac-Man Cafe opens for San Diego Comic-Con. That's right, folks. Craving a bit of nostalgia, but can't wait for San Diego Comic-Con. The Pac-Man Cafe will be open for service starting this weekend, just a couple weeks before the big convention. And I believe it's actually already open as we speak. I saw an X post that said there were already 20 people in line waiting. Inspired by the popular arcade game Pac-Man by Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc., the immersive pop-up cafe will bring exclusive merchandise, themed foods, and drinks, and other fun to the East Village. Starting Saturday, July 12th, the Pac-Man Cafe will be located at 323 7th Avenue at the former site of the now shuttered City Tacos near Petco Park. Well, moment of silence for City Tacos. But
Sure.
Pac-Man, this is a pretty nice little compromise here. The opening weekend includes meet and greets with Pac-Man and Blinky. Some of the ghosts get their name mixed up over the years, so I think that's the red ghost in this. Growing up, he was called Clyde to me. I don't know what you always called him, Culture.
Clyde.
Clyde? Oh, okay, wow. I know you're a man of culture in more ways than one now. Cool. As well as giveaways as part of its grand opening celebration. And we actually have some pictures I'd like to share on the matter. While I'm pulling those up, Culture, would you go to this thing if you were downtown for San Diego?
Yeah, I would go to that. I thought, because I read a different version of the story, that this was actually going to be on the convention floor and people could go visit it. But now that I know that it's an external venue, I would definitely go to it because I'm not going to go to Comic-Con again.
Oh no, do you have some Comic-Con horror stories we don't know about?
Oh, I have thousands of horror stories, but at the same time, consider this. If there's 20 people in line for this and it doesn't open for another 10 days, do you want to be anywhere near those people in 10 days?
Ooh. Yeah, good point. But Thankfully, though, I do have some further information on Pac-Man here, if you'd like to bring up on screen, good sir.
There it is. Okay. Hello.
Woo! Okay, awesome. All right, level up your San Diego summer with a nostalgia-packed bite. Nostalgia-packed bite. Wow, that is a phrase. The Pac-Man Cafe is coming to San Diego and opening July 12th, as we already know. It is going to be brought to you by Bandai Namco Entertainment and produced by Secret Sauce Society. Wow, that is a name. That sounds like the people who would be selling those shady Nintendo games. But I kid. This immersive pop-up celebrates 45 years of Pac-Man with themed eats, arcade play, exclusive merch, and retro fun. The menu, created with help from Inside Edition's Pac-Man, the official cookbook, and featuring a specialty ramen bowl by Marchen, includes Mosman noodles, Packhead quesadillas, ghost-themed cake pops and drinks, and shaved ice inspired by Pac-Man's iconic fruits, all served in limited edition packaging. Of this limited edition, I know, history when it comes to gaming, that usually means those things end up on eBay, but if this is food, all I can pray for is, please, scalpers, if you're trying to get your hands on these, please do not sell the food on eBay and let it get all moldy. I am not in favor of that. Culture, would you be buying any moldy food off eBay?
No, I wouldn't buy food off of eBay at all. I mean, I'm thinking that's a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, who are you going to go after with that purchase? I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think this is a disaster waiting to happen. Here we have some pictures, and it looks stellar. It's like a healthy mix of a lot of classic S Pac-Man art. Oh my gosh, there's even a Pac-Man floor mat. Okay, I've got to geek it out. There's skateboards.
Dude, are those skate decks? That's awesome.
Yes!
I love that. Yeah. Dude,
oh my gosh, eat your heart out, Marty McFly. This is a real board right here.
That's right. Hey, I got to tell you, I remember some novelty boards like that. I didn't realize there'd ever be any future value in them. That's funny as heck.
Yeah, no, I think the theming has been critical. And of course, they have arcade cabinets of Pac-Man, so you got to have that. And even some, I love these quesadillas here. But it's interesting. I'm kind of surprised that they don't have a offering. This isn't necessarily a big criticism here. This is just more surprising. I'm not seeing any sort of pizza on here because, for those who don't know, Pac-Man, the idea for it came from the dude was having pizza. He had a full-size thing of pizza, took a slice away, and it looked like Pac-Man. So everyone can bring a little bit of Pac-Man to their house, but I'll tell you, if you're in the San Diego area for Comic-Con, or even if you're just in the area, I think this is definitely worth it, just for the meet and greet opportunities alone. It's got Ghost Pops. This is the kind of stuff I feel like people need excuses to go out and do. Culture, any big thoughts on this, do you feel like? Do you think this is worth the trip?
I think this will be a big win. Honestly, I think everybody is going to really enjoy this. I think that having these little novelty things that pop up around conventions are always huge hits, and this especially so. So hopefully people will get their fill and have a little bit of nostalgia at the same time at the Pac-Man Cafe.
Yeah. Hey, I agree completely, my friend. And like I said, to whoever is watching, if you want to make it there in time for the Pac-Man Pop-Up Cafe, it's gonna be through it's gonna be open through July 12th through August 3rd, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. It's got Pac-Man themed food and drinks. That 323 7th Avenue, San Diego. This ain't sponsored or anything like that, but anytime there's an incredible event that you have an opportunity to go to brick and mortar physically, go for it. Like as long as you're safe, it's going to be fun and you're going to make a lot of memories along the way. And hey, you can brag to your friends on social media if you want to. So there's always that. All right, wrapping up that story here. All right, culture. Think we got time for one more? Or I think you want to call it a wrap. I'll leave it up to you.
You're the boss here, Nolan. I think either way, we've had a great show so far. Are you ready to try to sneak in a little more?
Yeah, let's sneak in one more here because
right.
This is a very, very new article here.
Brand
so
fresh.
I think we should. It's very fresh. So I think this is worth talking about to close out our show here. All right, this comes once again from IGN by Tom Phillips. The headline reads, Donkey Kong Bonanza reveal has fans convinced Nintendo is working on a Switch 2 Super Mario 3D platformer as well. The reveal of the new Donkey Kong Bonanza details has Nintendo fans furiously speculating about the company's next big 3D platformer and the return of the company mascot Mario. Yeah, it was a bit weird when the Switch 2 launched and we didn't get a 3D Mario announced alongside of it, even for the holiday season. We got instead Donkey Kong showing up. Did that catch you off guard at all, Culture?
Yeah, I mean, having a little bit of extra stuffed in someplace and kind of leading us to the future, that's definitely surprising. I mean, normally everything's kept real close to the chest.
Yeah, no. Well, as we got some further info, though, because as revealed by IGN yesterday, Donkey Kong Bonanza is being produced by Nintendo veteran Kenta Matsukura and directed by Kazuya Takahashi, a relatively recent addition to the company. Prior to Nintendo, Takahashi worked at Sega. They're pairing with the enemy here, Nintendo. What are you doing? And Square Enix on franchises such as Sonic and Final Fantasy. Matsukura, meanwhile, directed Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario Odyssey. Nintendo confirmed to IGN last month that Bonanza was being worked on by the team behind Super Mario Odyssey without detailing exactly who. But now we know the game's top developers are, and we even know why the game exists, as IGN was told that the idea came from Odyssey producer and Nintendo legend Yoshikaki Koizumi. And that's a very familiar name for a lot of Nintendo folks out there. And here's the part that now has fans wondering. If Donkey Kong Bonanza exists because Koizumi asked the Mario Odyssey team to make a new 3D Donkey Kong game, but Koizumi isn't involved in his usual spot as either director or producer, then, well, what else could Koizumi be making? Well, one of Nintendo's most prolific creators, Koizumi, has worked on every single Mario 3D platformer the company has made, acting as assistant director on Mario 64, director of Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy, then producer of Mario Galaxy 2, 3D Land, Mario 3D World, and Super Mario Odyssey. Koizumi also took on a major role around the launch of the Nintendo Switch, acting as a general producer for the hardware itself, and appearing as a regular face in the Nintendo Direct broadcasts. Now fans believe Koizumi's absence is a sign he's being saved up for something else, the next big 3D Mario. Do you think the fans have good reason here, Culture, to be on cloud nine over this announcement? Does this mean it's time to celebrate, parade in the streets for the next big Mario adventure, or do you think this is a bunch of bogus?
I think we have to wait. I don't think we could call balls or strikes on this one. It was more likely that it would be, something that everybody would look forward to. But at the same time, I let it cook a little longer before we draw conclusions. I think we'll hear enough in the near future that people will be satisfied either way.
I think you got a good point there, because I think that's a big thing with the Switch 2, especially for the people who haven't purchased a Nintendo Switch 2 yet, is we've got a lot of assumptions right now. We know, there's probably going to be a new 3D Mario. There's probably going to be a new Super Smash Brothers. The reality is, we only still have one must-have game for the Switch, which is Mario Kart World. And we know it's going to change here very soon because let's rank it Donkey Kong. But that's just 2 games. We need people to know, like, hey, when I'm getting into my Switch, I'm going to be in store for titles and titles to come. And not having a 3D Mario and having to wait quite a while for it, that can hurt, you know? The GameCube took a while back in the day before we got Mario Sunshine, and we had to wait till the second year, and it kind of stumbled a bit. I know it's a console I love near and dear to my heart, but seeing the GameCube as a masterpiece, that's something that started over the past decade plus. Back in the day, it was cool and hip to hate on the GameCube. Do you think, Culture, this 3D Mario coming to the Switch might be able to help save the reputation of the Switch 2, so to speak, from some of those most critical of the system, despite the sales charts?
Yeah, I think it would help a lot. Having more titles that could be considered first year releases would be good, or things that were close to that. I don't know if they could get this past the deadline fast enough, but if you have a lot of things on the near horizon for people to get a chance to celebrate and experience, I think that always helps. I mean, you have to consider how many games got not only rushed into production, but rushed to completion, when the PS4 was being released. They knew that they had to get around the corner on some of the development problems they were having, because this was going to be the console for quite some time, and they were also behind the 8 ball for the PS5, and that still doesn't feel like it has any first party titles or anything that's, exclusive enough that people would care. I mean, it's a lot of remakes. And I'm afraid we're going to go into 6 with that with PlayStation. So Nintendo, if you want to endear yourselves to the audience faster, make more games.
No, I couldn't agree more. I've been joking about PlayStation need more games for probably a good 15, 20 years now. Like maybe not 20, but about 15. Actually 20, yeah, PS3, it's been a minute. So yeah, I hope Nintendo doesn't follow the same suite with that.
Well, that's the thing is like, and again, we're gonna be wrapping up here pretty quick, but I just want to say this: you got if you're gonna release a console, you better have games for it. And this is, think about the fact that you can still make the joke that the PS5 has no games.
Yes. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And if I could bring at least a little bit of optimism, to close out this story here. Other Donkey Kong Bananza details revealed by IGN this week include the fact that the game started life on Nintendo Switch 1, as well as fresh chatter from Nintendo on how Bananza fits into the Donkey Kong canon. Keynote, that started as a Switch 1 game. So perhaps this 3D Mario could be the first major Mario project that's going to start from the ground up as a Switch 2 game. Will that make a difference? A lot of classics started work on another platform. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, but I really hope Nintendo has been taking, since Odyssey came out almost 9 years ago at this point, and people are clamoring for this new Mario, and I hope there's been a lot of stuff, progress being made, because quality takes a lot of time, but once you got it to where you commit to a brand new system, you got to show for it, because you're asking consumers for their money, and they're going to ask for a great service in return, and I hope Nintendo delivers. All right, with that all said, I think we're about ready to start wrapping it up here. Culture, though, we can't get out of here before we hear what the knowledgeable, insightful wisdom of the chat has to say on these matters. Culture, can you bring up some of their beautiful audience?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are in favor of Odyssey 2. Then people would be considering buying a Switch. I think that was one of the things that we were asking about. And I think that if that drives more, people to buy one, I think there's another reason to, get the game done or release it or both. I mean, again, I think we'll know more sooner rather than later when it comes to that specific title. So I wouldn't get too excited, my friends.
And don't worry, we know here at That Game Place that Nintendo won't give you any heads up. They'll just drop it a few days that they're going to have a new Nintendo Direct giving you info. They don't give you months to plan, do they, Culture?
No, they really don't. But you know what? Extreme meme, GameCube forever. Yeah, that's Nolan's favorite box. Literally a box. All right,
yes.
we got
we
the
like
lovely
boxes around here.
We like boxes. Elizabeth Young is here. Great to see you. Saying hi to everybody else. Crunts Punts says, I was a Nintendo kid until GameCube. Then my friend got an Xbox and Halo, and I needed to get in on that. Newer Nintendo has never really appealed to me. I think that may change. I think that they're starting to reach back into the past for the GameCube titles, as you've seen. I mean, that they're obviously leaning heavily into that with the controller and everything else. But I think that you're going to start seeing some newer titles coming out of Nintendo that you would normally have seen in some other console generation. And I think that's one of the reasons why they switched things up substantially with the Switch 2. So I think that there's going to be a little bit different game appeal going forward, a broader game appeal than ever. And they're not cartridge bound anymore, although they should be. But that does also lend itself to making bigger, more expanded games. Ocarina of Time is probably still my number one game. Yeah, I think it was one of the best. I think it was one of the best Link games ever, in my opinion.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris, which consoles do you have? That's a good question. We got a lot of people asking questions here. Donovan Bradford's out there. Great to see you, Donovan. Been a minute, my friend. And a few other folks, I just want to say thank you for showing up today. We appreciate you and your support. We've got more of these coming up in the near future, and we've got more videos on the way. So keep subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Hit the thumbs up button right now. Share the stream around there so people who missed it see it later on your social media platforms. Nolan, any final thoughts before we step out of the room?
No, I just want to say thank you once again for joining me, Culture. It's been a lot of fun hitting the news today. Had some wild stories out there, but just cannot express enough my appreciation for the beautiful chat people out there. Thanks to you guys, you helped make this show possible, and I just love being able to engage. On before the stream started, we were talking a bit about like what everyone was playing. I saw Fallout on there. I saw some amazing games, and that's part of the beauty of gaming is the sense of community. So can't thank you guys enough for viewers. And before we wrap though, Culture, where can these beautiful people find you on this great internet thing?
Well, obviously here on That Game Place each and every Saturday for the live show. You probably see me in a few videos this coming week on this channel as well. We've got, let's see, the Campione Reacts channel kicking off. We already have in 3 weeks over 200 subscribers over there. The ladies are being brilliant as always, and you're missing out if you want to see me outnumbered well, pretty much not just equaled, but topped on that channel on the regular, talking about the crazy trends in dating and in relationships coming to you from TikTok and the other, well, pretty poisonous social media platforms. So do check out Campione Reacts. And finally, my main channel, Culture Casino. That's right here. It is as it's spelled, and you can find me under that name pretty much everywhere. A channel that is closing in on 40K and on its way to 50. Let's get to 50K this summer. What do you say? Let's see if we can do that. And with that,
I like the sound of that. Help a brother out here, guys. Let's get Culture to 50K. He's more than earned it. That dude is a consistent mastermind. So please check out the 6 Minute Daily. It's great.
Yeah. And of course, we have our good friend Nolan here who needs to say the final words so we can go.
Absolutely. Hey, before we go, just saying, if you want to check me out on my channel, Nolan Thunder, doing a documentary about Mario 64 for my V horror documentary and comedy hybrid called Lost in the Files. It's been about a year in production for this one, but episodes are about to become a lot more consistent. But before that, we need a crazy season 1 finale with pyrotechnics, crazy horror movie music, and a lot of special guests showing up in the episode doing some voice roles. So you might see some That Park Place contributors showing up in there. So you might want to check it out for that reason. Be on the lookout. That's on my YouTube channel at Nolan Thunder. And Culture, I think it's time for us to get out of here. Yes. Ready to leave, good sir?
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Saturday. We'll see you back.
Keep going.
Oh, okay.
I got to say the thing.
Saturday, and we'll see y'all next week. And as always, don't forget,
get your game on.